Right now, of course, we're watching stock market futures. Everyone on Wall Street, of course, going to be monitoring the latest developments in Washington and the growing tension on the Korean Peninsula. Anthony Chan, Managing Director and Chief Economist at Chase, joins us right now. Hey, good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Cheryl.
Well, let's first talk about market reaction to North Korea. This hydrogen bomb, the power of it certainly has many in the military and diplomatic communities concerned, or investors concerned.
Well, you see that some investors in Asian markets are a bit concerned, but you saw less of that in Europe, and certainly you're only seeing a small sliver of that in U.S. futures markets. So I would say that investors are thinking this is more of the same.
All right, so more of the same until maybe there are reports that Kim Jong-un could potentially be launching another missile around September 9th, which is the anniversary of North Korea, the creation of North Korea, we should say. So that's one issue. But also what's happening in Washington, you've got the debt-ceiling fight, you've got Hurricane Harvey aid that needs to be approved, tax reform. I mean, all of this is they've got a very short window in D.C. to get this done, Anthony.
That's right. These 12 days is a very, very small window. I think tax reform does, in fact, take a back seat over the next 12 days, going to be deferring to Hurricane Harvey, the debt limit, and, of course, that continuing resolution that's badly needed to keep the government from shutting down. My suspicion is that some of these things, or most of them, will get done before the end of the month, but tax reform will have to wait.
Okay, so tax reform has to wait. What, I say this as God forbid, but what if September 29th comes and goes and we're looking at a shutdown of the government? What do you say?
Well, we've had about 18 shutdowns in the history of the United States, so that's not unusual, but shutdowns are only for a very small period. My suspicion is that if it happens, it will end pretty quickly.
Okay, so you're not worried about a government shutdown. At the same time, though, the markets are certainly going to be watching what's happening with the economy. GDP, the forecasts now seem to be a little bit better, despite the fact that you've had all this back and forth happening in Washington and the Korean situation. But are you concerned that GDP could eventually be affected by the noise that we're seeing out of D.C.?
The noise that we're seeing out of D.C. will have a very trivial or small effect on GDP. So far in the third quarter, it looks to me like it's about a 2.5% growth number is in the offing for the third quarter, which is very healthy since we've been sort of accustomed to about 2%.
Yeah, I know. Well, 3% is better than 2%. We'll take that at least, and it's a little bit, actually, it's 3.3. Anthony, thank you very much. Good to have you on the program this morning.
Pleasure.